Hi, I'm Aaron at One Maybe Two Rato. Welcome back. Today is the day that I am going to dig into these 3.5-inch discs that I found at the bottom of a box. Uh, Software that I have been searching for, IP that I have been searching for just a little over a year now. I pretty much had given up all hope until I started digging through some boxes while doing a little bit of thinning in my office storage space. And I had obviously forgotten about this pretty close to 30 years that it was sitting in the bottom of the box. So what are we going to do today? Well, today we're going to use a wide set of tools to try and read these. And we're going to start with the 1581 DV from Bitbinders. And we're going to take this XU 1541 device, and we're going to try and install it on the Mac. And we're going to see if we can read a disk. And then if that fails, then we're going to move to an Ultimate 2 and a Commodore 128. And we're going to try and get it up and running with Jiffy DOS. And in fact, we may do both as we are backing up disks. We may start setting up the Ultimate 2 128 to use it for native reading of these 1581s and archiving them to at least a transportable format. So I'm plugging in the XU 1541 offline. We're going to put these aside for right now. Well, that was quick. Day one's first fail. The XU 1541 that I was planning to use not only is very frustrating, it did not work reliably whatsoever. And then the footage of it not working. Although you know, all my camera footage worked fine, but the screen capture sat there and would only update the screen like once every minute. It was like I had a keyframe once every 10 minutes. It was crazy. So I'm going to spare you that injury and going to our backup. Going to the Commodore 128 with an Ultimate 2 Plus. Going to copy DRA here over to our USB drive. We're going to shut this down because apparently it just ain't compatible. But what we do know is that we had this file, we brought it over, and we're just going to drop it right here. And D64 Maker. It's a Commodore 64 tool. Which reminds me, we're going to need this. It's a Commodore 64 tool, but that's all right. Okay, I think that's everything. So we should be able to now unplug the Ultimate 2 from our computer up here. Yeah, looks like it's coming off. And we're going to hook up our Commodore 128 here with our RGB out to HDMI. We're going to need some power for that. We have LumaCode installed on this one, so we're going to use LumaCode because, hey, why not? For our digital out, we're going to might as well unplug this XUM, and we're going to need that for serial. We're still going to need this for audio. So let's use this for audio. Yeah. We're going to plug this puppy in here like so. Excellent. All right. So I need a couple power cords for our external drives. This will be for the 1581, which I'm going to put right here, I think. Yeah. Just like we did before, we'll kind of get these off to the side here. This one here, and maybe this one here. That feels good. All right. And you know what else? Yet another unboxing. I'm hiding this. We had challenges getting this one in, but I'm so happy to be able to show you brand new Bitbinders. Oh, wow, that's a big box. 128 advanced power supply. Nice. Let's have a look at this. I like the packaging. Look at that. Just like the 64, but oh, that's beautiful. It's a power cord I don't need right now, but always handy in the future. These guys make beautiful products. They're beefy and heavy, and they seem to be very reliable. It's a pleasure to be able to try them out. I did purchase all of these components from them. Let's see here. Where's oh, it's covered. Oh, look at that. A warning. Please set the voltage switch to the appropriate. Oh, I'm glad they put that on. Let's have a look. Okay, so this is even 110 240 switchable, which is awesome. Not that I actually need it, but hey, in the future, maybe. Make sure this is off. And I'm gonna, I don't know, I'll put this on the side. It's a constant reminder. Okay. Just a little bit of residue there, but nice unit. 9 volts, 5.1 volts, amp meter here. So this should be more than enough to power all these goodies that we have hooked up. This is for our 1581. I still need power for our HDMI. Let's try this one. Should see that glow up. And this one. Why am I not seeing that one light up? There we go. And last but not least, we have ourselves the Bitbinders 1581 DV. So far, this thing has been bloody amazing. I have been so happy with it. Let's see, both on. This is top is drive 8, bottom is going to be, oh, you guys can't see that. Okay, both on. Drive 8 at the top, drive 9 here. And so I need to configure our Ultimate 2 so that it has, let's see here, I do this. And then last but not least, I need to also configure, okay, well, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on and oops, we're going right into booting of GEOS. Well, we know the auto boot works. We know this drive works. Okay. I want everybody to be able to see the drive. Yeah, I think that's fair. You know what I was doing before? There should be no, oh, I don't want it on top of that. I was doing it kind of like that. All right, well, that's a little large. If you remember my previous video, I'm getting a lot of line noise that's causing some challenges with my LumaCode. I haven't fully figured that out yet. Yeah, I don't have an answer for that yet. I mean, I guess one of the things I could do is hook it up to an external battery, and that at least would isolate it from power lines. What a horrible idea. The question is, where's my external battery? All right. So we're just gonna turn that off. I'm just gonna check where that comes from here. And we're just gonna plug this in. Make sure we got power. There's the doggy. 1%. Let's see what it can deliver. That comes on. Oh yeah, definitely line noise. So, well, let's see how long this lasts on a power bank. I got lots of power banks, so crystal clear. So if you watched my last video, and if you haven't, watch me installing LumaCode to get this beautiful crystal clear 40 column display and the 80 column. Talk about a day of failures with a little bit of wins. As you can see, I haven't really figured out that I even had the choppy footage, and certainly think it's not worth going back. But obviously, setting up the 128 to support the archiving of 30-year-old disks in the least risky way possible has been a bit of a challenge. At least the silver lining is that I was able to demonstrate the RGB to HDMI sparkles was an issue with power supply. Thank you for Copper Dragon also supporting as a comment to one of my previous videos. And then of course, the 128 being so flaky just compounded and ultimately dragged this out to the end of the day. So sadly, the next day I had to pick up where I left off. All right. I think we finally have this figured out. So a little bit of a fragile system, but first off, in the last video, as I was setting up LumaCode on this 128 with the two RGB to HDMI, one dedicated to LumaCode, one dedicated just the RGB TTL out. We get this great picture right now that you're seeing in front of you that has pixel perfect video. It's absolutely gorgeous. You can see both an 80 and 40 column mode in a side-by-side mode, which I really like because, well, I'll get to that in a second. I'm using a Bitbinders 128 power supply. Fantastic tool for testing and understanding the power draw on your system, especially when using an FPGA-based expansion cartridge. I'm using the Bitbinders 1581DV, and I am using an Ultimate 2 Plus, I believe L, to act as a third and fourth drive and a hard drive on the system, and possibly other things when we get to testing, including using it as a modem, an emulated RS-232 modem. One of my biggest challenges was figuring out how to boot the Ultimate 2 with the 1581 drive being 8 and 9 and the Ultimate 2 having drives 10 and 11, plus the essentially the software SD2 IEC. I put that in number 20, all at the same time. And when I was doing a hard power reset, the system would not load. The cartridge would not respond. I finally figured out, well, one, I didn't even have the Ultimate 2 plugged in to the IEC connection on the drive. So the drive, the computer goes to the drive, and the drive through its second pass-through port goes to the Ultimate 2 Plus. I'm also using, by the way, the Ultimate 2 Plus as a 16 megabyte RAM expander, because the copying and disk imaging software that I'm using, in theory, uses that. It will also, in theory, use fast mode, which greatly increases the speed, especially in burst mode with the 1581 and the 1571 that I'm running the software off of, and the SD2 IEC. And so, but when I do a software reset, at least the drives are all still there. They work properly. If I go dir D0, 10, I should see. Oh, well, I didn't actually type Shift R apparently. Oh, and I'm typing Return R. I've been using 6 different keyboards and doing a lot of coding on my editing keyboard in the last. Oh, well, it would help if I put a U in there as well. So Shift Enter, U Enter, and there we go. So we can see here's my DRA copy 128, which I just pulled off of the internet. But at this point, I also have noticed that if I put pressure on the 128, this is the one that has the slight bow in it, things start to short out, and it gets all wonky. For lack of my technical term, gets all wonky. Okay, so we're up and running, and when I say that, I mean we have. You see there, it just freaking reset again. We're just going to deal with it this way for now. Again, every time there's a slight sync issue, or I don't know whether it's a sync issue or just something changes a little bit, I get that flicker, and then my geometry goes all out of whack. I don't know why. It resets the geometry to 5x4, which I don't think that's technically the geometry of. I mean, it might be, but okay. It's on the screen. We can see it. It doesn't look pretty, but it's good enough. What's important is on the left screen, and now we should be able to. Oh shoot! Really? Did it not save my settings? Oh, that's right. I changed it to 12. Let's try that again. So I figured out why I was getting a directory. Okay, fair. File not found. Possibly because this hasn't been set. Set turn names here. Let's. Hey, there we go. We finally have a directory of my, quote unquote hard drive. And you'll see why it was so important for me to actually figure out how that that works. Hopefully, the software is going to let me use it. So we're gonna load DRA copy onto drive A. Permi, enter, mount disk. Okay, so now we should be able to dir d0, u11, and we should be able to see that. Oh, it didn't see that. Oh, that's because it's on U10. There we go. And if we go fast, that's going to blank the right-hand side of the screen out. And we're going to go deload. Okay, fine. Doesn't like those commands. Come on. Oh, I'm typing badly. Okay. Comma 10, comma 1, colon. Okay, excellent. I wish I could figure out the DOS wedge. Okay. And now if we run that, all right. It's reading directory 8. It's going to read directory 9. Those are the default. So we're going to leave it on 8, but we're going to switch over. So this is the RA copy, sorry. And we're going to switch the device to 10. If we did an F1, we would see that. Switch device to 11. Nothing's there. It won't go to 12? Shoot. Okay. Time to fix that. Now, I'm going to quit out of that. I'm going to go to slow mode. I bet you I can do this. Go to B settings. I'm going to disable drive 11. Okay, we're going to make our, and then the soft EIC, we're going to make it 11. And we're going to save that. And then we're going to enter into that. We're going to hit F5. Software IEC, we're going to reset it. And we're going to go to F5 software IEC sector here. And then if I back out and I go loads, comma 11, and go list, there we go. There's our utility. So that's our hard drive. Now I'm going to go to dir d0, comma u 10. Good. And I'm going to load that because remember I loaded it out of memory. Okay, great. Why am I running this in slow mode? Crap. But the good thing I know is I can hit F9. I can go fast. I can go run. Good. It stays resident in memory. I love that. Excellent. Here we go. We're going to go to drive 9. We're going to change the device to 10. We'll change it to 11. We're going to hit F1. And there's our hard drive. We're going to change device again. And this time we're going to make an image. And the image is going to be, oh my God, it's going to be awesome. It's not going to be that. Invalid image type. That's fine. What? Why? Okay. The image name is going to be not PRG. It's going to be geos test image.d81. It is it's going. I can also switch us into full 80 columns so we aren't seeing the flickering on the side. This is a bit of a long process. I wonder if it'd be faster writing it to a RAM disk and then having it copy it over. I'm going to look into that. It might be better. Wow, it's moved to the other side. Halfway through. I didn't time this. I'll time it after the fact. That's interesting. This is make an image on device 8. I thought that would have been of device 8. A write error. All right. That's frustrating. Let's oh god, these colors are horrible. Can I change the colors? Why are they those colors? Oh crap. This is just help. Can barely read it on the screen. Okay, let's quit. Okay, we're gonna quit. I'll switch us to. Oh, I'm in fast mode. Shoot. Okay, let's go slow. Let's make sure our configuration is working here. So I'll have to see it's enabled. It's enabled on drive 11. Let's see what D does again. D does a optimized disk copy. Okay, that might be exciting. Disk copy. Can copy from 1581 80 tracks to U64 0 tracks. Okay. No. Okay. So we're going to do an image again. And the image name, we'll make it again, geos test 2.d81. Let's go. I don't know whether that's actually faster or not. Right now we're at about 7:11 here. Let's just see how this goes. So, here. reset. When it hits block 200, I'll start it. And we'll just take a pulse here. I think one of the challenges we might be running into is when we make an image of a disk to the same size, it's going to run out of memory. Like, it's going to run out of disk space. That's not going to work. We'll stop that and reset it. Oh, and look what I just did. Crap. I know I can't do that. Shoot. There we go. So following this same logic, maybe a lot slower, but there is a piece of software. I don't know. I'll be back. What a frustrating first couple of days. Going to day 3, I am hoping for some better results by using the XU1541 Windows platform. If that's not successful, I'll have to go back to the 128, possibly move to another piece of software, or give RAmicopy one more try. I have some ideas around that. All right. I'm back the next day, a little cleaner shaven, ready to, after doing a copious amount of research and testing throughout last night, I realized that there are some severe limitations in the software that's out there in trying to back up 1581s. Running on the 128, RAmicopy just does not seem to work. I'm not sure why. I'm going to come back to that. It's really hard to find some strong documentation, but I thought the image was a way of creating a disk to an image, but it seems that it only creates a blank image and takes a very long time to do so, where Durmaster on the PC can create a bunch of blank images. Then from there, you can, in theory, copy the entire disk to an entire disk image. So we're going to try that today. And then if that doesn't work, we're going to fall back onto a piece of software called CBM Commander for the Commodore 64. And to my understanding, it does actually work with the SC2 IEC. And will do images, not only D64, but in theory, D81s, which is really what I need to do to get this. Now, I have a fallback, a third level fallback position. I'm not super happy with it in my testing, but I'm going to tell you about it right now. That position, fallback position, is the 1581 hooked up to the PC. And for that, I'm using OpenCBM version 0.4.99, which you should be able to see right here. This is a pretty good tool all around, albeit recognized as slow. it was a real challenge to install. But once I got it installed and figured out how to install it, it worked fairly well. The key is when you do the install command, make sure that you put in the model of the IEC interface that you're using. So in my case, it was an XU1541. So the command was install space XU51 from the command line. The way that I kind of figured that out was I had to look at did I look at the README? Probably. But I don't think it actually said as much. That's right. And then when I looked I looked in the install command. And when you look in the install command, which really is just a batch file, that it had a number of conditions in how it installed, depending upon a specific type of unit being defined. So in this case, when I went install XU1541, then it installed properly. And as you can see, I can now use the sorry, I'm in the wrong directory here. I can now use, the CBM CTRL and get sorry, I had to give it a drive number, a status of drive 8. And look, we get a status back. If I want to get a directory on 8, there you can see very slowly it loads a directory. I haven't figured out if I can speed this up at all. Certainly doesn't seem to be Jiffy DOS aware. That's it. So even then, even though that this is slow, in theory, I should have been able to use image copy. The challenge is that even with all the workarounds, image copy isn't working well with the 1581. And it was crashing in the middle of doing that. And as you may have seen from my previous video or previous portion of this video, I also was crashing once I got DRA copy up and running. But again, I think that's something else entirely. So what I refocused once I couldn't get the 128 to work properly. And yeah, I was having other issues with my 128 where it looks like I do have a chassis challenge. This is the 128 that sits as a U, and I found as I'm able to deform it a bit, something in it is shorting out or it's breaking a trace. So not working great. This is why I reverted back to making images on the PC from the PC, and then I'm going to go back and from some of the experience that I just gained, make a bunch of blank D81 images, and we're going to try those on the we'll try it in DRA copy again, and if that can't work, then I'm going to revert back to the 64. Just a couple. So that being said, a couple other notes. So after installing OpenCBM, so that's where we're at with. So just backing up again, installing OpenCBM has a bunch of tools that we're able to use to get the directory and control. Image copy utility does not function appropriately with the 1581. So I fell back on another tool was I found a GUI that uses OpenCBM and Vice, some of the Vice tooling, to be able to do a copy. And you can see here I've got a bunch of tests that I was doing. It does work, which is really cool. The CBM transfer, which I was just talking about, and the key to setting it up needs a VB6 runtime, so you have to download from somewhere. OpenCBM needs to be pointed to, and you need Vice, the Vice 1541. And of course, if you want to launch things and test things directly in Vice, you need Vice installed. Once that's installed, you can have this interface set up like this. You can have an image. You can get a directory. They take an awful long time to load. It's really slow, but really, beggars can't be choosers in this case. And I'm doing all this because I want to test these disks for the very first time with only doing one directory on it and then attempting to back it up. Cleaning the head and going to the next disk. I want the minimal amount of use on this, on each of the disks. And my objective is to get a digital backup, onto my server and available. So I'm going to do this test now. You can see I was testing with this disk of Geos, and we have a D1581 over here. The other challenge I found is any 1581 that has a directory in it, this software doesn't recognize the directory. You have to create the directory by hand on the other side. And essentially, we're going to be copying one file at a time from here over to here. And that's not so much an issue, but what I really wanted was, because the D81 images can be block for block in order representation, reproduction of a 1581, which this isn't exactly doing, or at least not that I understand. So it's not copying over the header and the title, etc. And that's what I was hoping DRA copy would do. But if DRA copy only allows me to take a created image, wow, that's going a little faster than I would have expected. And I think it's lost communication with the 1581. And there you can see that we've got a whole onslaught of errors. I'm not sure what the errors are. Thanks for not having a history there. But we can go and have a look. There's the runtime I downloaded, by the way, and there's the version of Vice that I was using, and CBM transfer 2.0.0, which is a beta, but it seems to have been fairly stable. If I go under my documents where I installed CBM transfer and I have a look at the log, you can see we can see what the error was. Okay, it looks like the device bricked. All right. Well, let's turn off the drive. We'll unplug the XU1541, and then we will plug it back in, turn on the drive, make sure the disk is out so it doesn't go into a boot state, put the disk back in. Can we get a directory? Yeah, it's reading the directory. Now, I think it was this disk that I was using as a test for copying. This one had a directory on it. This one didn't. This one has a whole bunch of Dell files, uses visual separators on the directory. Or maybe this one does. I can't. Yeah, I think it's this one. Maybe it's this one. This one has a subdirectory, I think, and that's how I knew I couldn't copy it. There we go. We seem to have been able to read that again. We're going to select everything, and let's copy over. So again, it's reading directories. There we go. There's the error again. I don't know whether that's a read error that the XU1541 isn't able to handle. I know that I believe, not know, I believe, if I remember correctly, I did update the XU1541 firmware. So we're going to go back to the Commodore 128 and do what I had just described. My USB 3 folder. Here we go. We're going to use Disk Commander. We're going to make a bunch of empty drive images to see if we're able to use DRA copy to 12880 column to copy from one image to another. I think we're going to do, let's see here. No, here we're going to go disk new D81. We're going to save that as new disk. And we'll just start with A, and we're going to make sure that we actually put it onto the this drive here. We're going to put probably 3 or I don't know. Save that there. So there we've created the blank template for that. Now I'm going to just go in and quickly we're going to go copy, paste, paste, paste. And then if we take all those and we go copy and we go back up to my 1541, and we're going to make a new folder here. We're just going to call that disk backup. So that should be good. We should be able to now eject that. Thank you. All right. Oh, I almost forgot. Yeah, not I almost forgot. I did forget. The other thing that we want to download is CBM command, I think is the name. This is the 64 backup I was referring to. We're going to copy that and we'll add it to my 1541 utilities directory for the 64. Oh, this might actually work on the 128. Okay. Maybe only in 40 columns. I don't know. But maybe it can utilize burst mode then. That's kind of interesting. All right. So I'll be right back. Into our flash disk. Into our 1541 disk. Down to utilities. Over to the 64 utility. Which apparently we just need this to, oops. Let's mount that disk. Okay, and then let's also make sure that our hard drive is, our soft drive, we're going to set the directory here. Okay, now Now we should be able to go F3 to get a directory here. Okay, great. We should be able to go dir device 0 unit 10, and from there we should be able to see the load cbmcd. Okay, great. And we should be able to load gamma 20. Oh, that's right. I had it set up as drive 11. There we go. And if we go list, there's a whole bunch of drives. Excellent. So now let's do our dir d0 comma u 11. Yeah, no, it was supposed to be 10 anyways. So actually what we were going to do was a DRA copy, and then we're going to try load CMD. So let's try that, which just requires me to go into the menu, and I'm gonna change drive 10 here to be DRA copy 1280. I'm going to mount that disk. It'll exit us out, which is great. I can just go back up to the top here, and it should beautiful. And we're going to use the 80 column version, and again, comma 10, comma 1. Remember, it's on drive 10. Should have hit type fast, but that's okay. We're just going to switch to 80 column mode, so you can see that zoomed in. We're going to clear home, and we're going to go run. And then we will see everything in beautiful detail here. And it's going to get a directory of 8. There's nothing in 9. But it, oh, look at that. It automatically went to 10 with nothing in 9. Cool. But it's not 10 we want. So F2, back to 8. Refresh the directory. And then we're going to go F2 to get 11. And we're going to refresh the directory. And then I'm going to pick A. If I select that and I go back over here and I go D, okay, so that didn't work. So this is doing a file level copy between the two. All right. I can continue to talk here, and I can actually fast forward this section. I always don't know what else to say, but pardon me. Yeah, this is why I like doing independent sources, because then I can fast forward this part, in double, triple speed, and still have a bit of a conversation. So it'll be interesting to see whether there's this errors out with a read error like we had when we were using the XU1541, which reminds me I should really just unplug that. Just for folks to see here. Very gentle. I do not want to disturb this computer. I'm obviously going to have to figure out how the board is grounding it. Like something heavy was on the middle of this computer that warped the entire thing. And I find that I am able to warp it so that now it could be the keyboard shorting with something. It could also be that there's the RF shield that's still installed in the bottom, and maybe I need to take that out, inspect and take that out. It could also mean that there is some cold solders on the PCB, which are a real challenge to figure out. I will also point out, actually, let me just switch to side-by-side mode. Am I getting sparkles in this? No. So I have a different power source, and I think I solved my RGB to HDMI sparkle issue. I just need it to stop syncing and then representing a different sized item. This is so painful to watch. The Bitbinders 1581DV, I don't think is causing any of these challenges. Somebody might be thinking, well, Aaron, you're using, a modern rendition of a 1581 that's got dual drives. I haven't really found it to behave any other way than what we would expect. The one thing I would say that would be amazing is if I could actually disable one of the two drives. There may be a way for me to software change drive 9 number, but there, for instance, DRA copy here will only address drives 8, 9, 10, and 11. Even though you saw that I'm in theory copying to the root of a software IEC drive similar to an SD2 IEC. At least it's supposed to be compatible. I will say the Ultimate 2 Plus so far has been an absolute pleasure to use. Well, so far we've read and written 230K. 6 minutes, 7 minutes maybe. Certainly isn't fast right now. Okay. Well, I guess, I could let it go to 800K. It's going to take another 10 minutes. And then call that a failure. And then revert to CMB copy, CBM, Commander CBM, whatever thing it's called. Oh man, what a pain. Okay. I gotta imagine this is failed. We're gonna reset this. Here we go. So, I mean, instead of us mounting this on drive 11, let's put this back to 20. I mean, that allows me to then add a B drive and call it a 1581 enabled. And now if I go into, even if it's on the hard drive, and if I select that and I mount that on B, and then I go dir D0, U10. There we go. Recording away. Excellent. Oh, it tells me here too. That's nice. Okay, we're going to go run. I'm just going to switch us to full 80 columns here. And so 11. Now, can I do a fast copy? Hold on a sec. I want this in here. I'm going to change. I like how it skips the drive if it doesn't seem to have anything in there. So here I want to do a disk copy. Oh, no error this time. Yes. Oh, I should have. Okay, let's say it started at 11:50. Nice. Okay, so I am copying from a 1581 finally to a virtual 1581. And so far, no errors. And this is a sector by sector copy, which is exactly what I want there. None of the stuff I have in 1581 should be copy protected. So I have a viable solution here. I don't want to use this software to create an image though, because it's dirt slow when it tries to create an image. This also means I'm now copying this. I mounted something on the USB, and it doesn't matter where it is on the USB, which is really good. Excellent. Oh, okay. Oh dear. About halfway through, we're seeing here it's completely stopped. It certainly seems to be having trouble reading it. I'm going to also try copying from drive 9. This might actually be an indication that there's an issue with the 3.5-inch disc in here. All right, so this doesn't seem to be working very well. It's stuck on a sector somewhere in the middle here. I don't know whether it's the disk or the drive, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to reset this. Okay, I'm back. It's really hard to tell whether that was a disk issue or a computer issue. as things get warm, it is possible that they overheat. So we're gonna do that again. I was having a bit of a midday crisis. The XU1541 didn't work. A new approach to just doing an image of a disk to a disk seemed to be failing because of the 128 hardware. Ultimately, I pulled the 128 apart at this point, rebuilt it, pulled out the RF shield, which seemed to be creating stress on the motherboard after I had added a heatsink on top of the VIC-2E, which was too high to have the normal RF shield over top of it because I had added LumaCode. It looks like this has resolved the fragility, the flakiness of that unit, reducing the stress on the motherboard that obviously was creating some warping, and thus with certain types of contact with the case would cause it to short out. And needless to say, I have left the RF shields out of that. Let's see how stable that is now. I'll switch a steady column. There's no point in having a look at this in any other mode. There we go. I'm going to run. It should not find, it'll find a drive 8, but it won't find a disk. So it's going to load 9 into the source position. And 10, we're going to switch to drive 11, which in theory is empty. Yep, but that's okay because we're going to disk copy from 9 to 11. Here we go again. We've started at 12:05:14. Oh, seems to be meaning it's written. Each one of those lines, I believe, represents a track. There's 80 tracks. So, if we stop again in the middle, and I don't really care where, we know that we probably have a disk issue. Then if we stop, if we don't stop again in the middle, it still could be that, this computer is a bit flaky. I'm hesitant to switch right now because my other one, the keyboard doesn't work very well. The other one, the keyboard's broken. And one of those two has an issue with the VDC. So, I mean, I could try and rule it out, but what I want is like a test of a full disk copy to an image to actually work, just for once. So it failed on track 34. So we've gotten past that failed track. Interesting. Okay. There we have it. It's read a bunch of zeros. Empty tracks. And it looks like we have an exact copy. Frickin' amazing. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the Geos disk that gave us an issue previously. Oh my gosh, we finally have some success. Only an hour into this video for you all watching it right now. But I am now confident that I have a process of making a copy of a 1581 disk and transferring it to an archivable format residing on a USB stick in the form of a 1581 image. Now, I think we can risk actually using one of the 30-year-old disks and getting down to business. This mission had a purpose. RAMifications 4.8 with SwiftLink from August 17th, 1994. This is it. Oh, there it is. I don't know what drives I need. But before I do anything else that's stupid, hit a column, we'll go fast, we'll go to run. All right, change over. There's 11. We read the disk. It's empty. We're going to make a disk copy to that, please. No. No, we'll make a disk copy from 8 to 11. Yes. And I'm going to leave you with it. I can't watch this. Well, this is looking really promising. We are more than 3/4. It's identifying the empty blocks. Very, very cool. Now, this is the version, the SwiftLink version that we developed. So now that I've tested the SwiftLink on the Ultimate 2 on this using DesTerm, hopefully this will work essentially the same. So, very excited. Very excited. Almost done here. I like how fast it is when it's empty blocks. Oh, there's the puppy coming down to say hi again. Or maybe. Hey, puppy. How are you? No, you're just going to go lie over there? What are you doing? Okay. Writing the lost track. Oh my God, yes. Here we go. Well, let's go back in now. And we said that we were going to make our backups. Anyone, we're going to mount that. Okay. There you have it. First time in 30 years that RAMifications, oh, I should have made a backup. What was I thinking? That's okay. RAMifications is booting up Now, this is RAMifications BBS. Oh, I don't think. Damn. No communication. That's all right. That's all right. Now, this is RAMifications running on EBBS 4.8, which, by the way, wasn't written by Perry. 4.8 is our code. There's a modem reset had a problem, but the initiation codes went through. There it is. Last caller. This was obviously a backup from 1994. Well, let's see what happens when I go alt return. There we go. Local interrupt. There's the old phone number. Oh, I remember the color scheme. We totally changed the color scheme and everything. Oh, why is it so slow? Let's see. I want to remind myself what the main menu looks like. So this is RAMifications BBS running on. We are. Oh, isn't that interesting? Yeah. So right now it's trying to use the. Um, oh, I have to do it in the. So let's have a look at the version info here. Oh, so there's certainly in this backup some files missing. I'm going to have to make backup copies of other disks and see where those got to. That's awesome. Uh, info on BBS. Okay, so I think this technically now is this was a Doors esque, yeah, and I think this. Hmm. And so it's pulling off of a sequential file. Okay, let's go back to main menu. Enjoy your stay. And so if we go to online games now, oh, this is so cool. Oh, couldn't find a file. Rebooting RAMifications. All right. RAMifications lives. Holy cow. What a process we just went through to get a reliable disk copy. Yes, I know I could have done a directory much earlier on, but it was so important. Sometimes you only get one shot at reading a disk before it literally falls to dust. So I took an overly pragmatic approach and dragged you along on that journey. But now that we know that we can make these images this way, and that, hey, that we have an unreleased version of EBBS, aka RAMifications, version 4.9, well, in this case, 4.8, up and running. Let's see if we can find that version 4.9 and a more recent copy of the RAMifications Bulletin Board System that I can get up and running for the world to be able to see and use. So on to day 4. Yes, I know it says day 3, but what you're about to see happen on day 4. Let's change that. On to day 4. All right. So it's the next day again. And I have spent quite a bit of the evening going through as many discs as I can that are the most recent, including what may be and then we're going to try and get that one unit up and running. But as you can see, now that I've updated, taken out both the top and bottom heat/RF shields, this unit hasn't been doing those weird, funky crashes, especially when I type heavy on it. The other good thing is I went back and after cleaning the heads on the drive, was able to re-image those 2 disks that failed. So every 2 or 3 disks now, I'm doing a quick clean of the heads to try and make sure that they stay viable. So yeah, it's been a bit of a process, but it looks like I've found a way of viably try to go through and just look at discs that have the most recent date. And yeah, I know somebody's screaming right now, Aaron, except in very specific circumstances, there's no time date stamps on the files on any of these disks, mechanisms, etc. That is absolutely true. But the BBS for sure, kept a date and time. So if I'll use this disk as an example, which we haven't looked at yet. Here, and I'll switch to a full 80 column just to make it easier to see. Quite a few files in here, and you can see that it makes a user log with a date stamp. All right, so nothing there. Sorry, there is something there, but I can't remember if this has like a page up or not. It'd be really handy if it did. These directory listings are very long. So not December 93, but here, the user log. So that was user log for RAMifications 4.8 from April 9th. This looks like it's a full install. 0 blocks free. I'm gonna have to find a way to emulate a larger drive. If you recall me saying, we were running this on a hard drive. 4.5 RAM 2. Let's have a look at this disk here. But you know now. Oh, okay. Darn. Hopefully the error log and the user log will. This is uncompiled working copy. Oh, look, there's the date. Okay. And you remember me saying that I thought we had picked it up at 4.5. I think we already had access to the source code, even though we didn't own the IP. It's not what I meant to do. There we go. You can see the versions that I was going through. And then this one's 128 4.8 master. Let's have a look at that. Yeah. So this is a full license version of EBBS. And the master files that you get, all the, which in 4.5 had doors added to it as well. Yes, that's right. That makes sense. There we go. Starting to get into, here's the basic originals. DSCnet, I think, we were starting to work on the ability to use the network version of the door system. I don't know. And then we can have a look here. I think as we went on, we got a licensed copy of EBBS 4.6. Uh-oh. That didn't look like it worked. Well, that might be our very first dead disk. Yeah. Oh, that's too bad. That's a little bit of history. And then here were some of our earlier attempts, I believe, before we had named our new bulletin board system RAMifications. Here you can see interesting. That doesn't look like a modified version of EBBS. So what was that running on? What was this? This looks like it would be the most recent. Let's just share some of the pain of dirty disks. Isn't that interesting? I don't actually know what that is. Then one other thing I'm going to have a look at here is, let's just shove a disk in where there already is a disk, Aaron. 0 blocks free. Huh. So I think this was the last version of our Commodore user group bulletin board system before it became RAMifications, but I don't remember. That doesn't look like EBBS either. I can't remember what we were running it on. It does look familiar. Hmm. This one would be interesting as well. Quite an interesting part of history. Um, okay, so I think what we're going to do right now is we're going to leave these two. Well, I'll back these up today, and then I'll do another video on what we find on those. But the key here is to get one of the most recent versions of EBBS that I could find up and running. And it's, you probably can't see. I was able to do a backup of this disk, RAM 4.8B. And that seems to be a backup from the hard drive in 1995, June 23rd, 95. So I'm going to take that image. I'm going to make a copy of it so that I can play around with it. And I'm going to get it onto a slightly larger drive, probably put it on a RAM drive on Vice. And then I'm going to see if I can get it up and running. And I have my copy of Desterm here as as Matthew Desmond pointed out online. First time he's seen Desterm running in the wild. There you go. Oh, menu ATM 2. That's interesting. I mean, the one thing that I don't seem to have anywhere is a backup of Maximum Overdrive. And I don't seem to have a backup of the Blitz compiler either. Is this another copy of Desterm? Let's just have a look at that again. Oh no, that's a backup of my Ramlink utilities. Okay. Well, that's cool. I know people are always looking for that online. I'm sure that a disk has to exist. Concerned that the first try at that didn't read it properly. Oh, RAM DOS. Looks like I made a compilation of everything. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, so there's I think machine language compiler that we used. I don't remember what GNOME kit was. I had to do some research on that. One thing I haven't actually been able to find is and I can't remember whether I needed Becker's extensions. This is going to be interesting. Let's go to this. I haven't been able to find the Blitz compiler, and I haven't been able to find the instructions. So this is CNET. I think this is what I was possibly. Well, there you have it. I'm going to try and get that latest version up and running on a RAM disk and Vice, where I can play around with it and resimulate things like, um, I mean, yeah, I've got everything on this, but I need to get into a state where I can stably run it like it was running previously. The one thing I don't have will be an actual backup of the hard drive. And sadly, I think that's probably lost for all eternity. Um, all eternity. That would be too bad. But all that being said, thanks for joining me on this journey. It looks like I've successfully gained access to the software I've been looking for a while now. Uh, Certainly putting the 1581 DV through its paces. It's been a trooper. So glad I bought this unit. It's so cool to be able to do this. Obviously, if I didn't have a 1581, I was never going to be able to make backups of these disks and get to where I am. So, understanding that for the most part, I'm using modern tools to emulate disks and other components and to do new things with the 128. And yeah, if I decide to post and host this bulletin board system going forward, I'm probably going to end up doing it on a virtual machine in emulation, using uh, a net socket for it. But hey, if I can find that networking stuff, I can set up. That way, I can set up 10 Commodore 128 and have 10 nodes, all using those network features. But I digress. I know that never really came to fruition and was fully developed. Um, but uh, you know, the ability to use it with RAMlink, the ability to use it with the RAM expanders, the ability to run it off a RAM disk, use it with the CMD hard drives, uh, uh, getting it so that we could use it up to 38.4 reliably with a Swift link was cool, and I'm really looking forward to emulating that again. Sorry, testing that out again, as I even have a Swift link here, and I have a RAM expander, and I can emulate that as a RAM link mode, and I can do all that in Vice as well. So stay tuned. Welcome to my journey. There's going to be a whole bunch of outtakes on this, so watch for little snippets coming out. We're going to try to make them short and fun um, and enjoyable to help document this. Cheers. We'll see you next time on One Maybe Two Retro.